Welcome to the Guide to Movies podcast with Joe and Sean. This is episode 36. I was just criticizing Sean for how loud he is sometimes. So he's good to go, you know? Are you good to go?
I'm just always great at, just being ready to think about stuff that I can't help. But no, I've been feeling good. I just recently started a book by Jeff Daniels on interior decorating, and I also just finished that book by Jeff Daniels on interior decorating.
Big reader over there.
I truly loved. I want to get his tips on his guest room of a guest room that he was in during the Golden Globes.
Oh my God, we're gonna get into the Golden Globes in a few. Let's start off a little bit. We apologize for not being on last night. We made a judgment call near the end that basically we just didn't feel like there was enough news to talk about other than just bitching about the Golden Globes for a while. Luke says he's been waiting for 24 hours. Welcome, Luke. Thank you for watching. Let's dive into our picks of the week. I'm going to start off real quick with one that I know we both watched, and that is Tom and Jerry. Preface this with you knew what you were getting into, I think, if you watch Tom and Jerry. I don't particularly think it's a good movie, but for the audience, for kids, it is right up their alley. It is spot on with the slapstick humor, all the stuff that you would expect from the cartoon. But when it comes to the animation and stuff, I just thought that was pretty poor, to be quite honest. It seemed like it was done on the cheap. It was better in whatever year Who Framed Roger Rabbit came out. That's my point of view. You watched it too, didn't you, Sean?
I did, and I feel the exact same way. And of course, I'm criticizing the development of the characters, the story of a Tom and Jerry film, so I don't exactly know what element I'm in. I did look at this through the eyes of a child, though, because growing up with Tom and Jerry was huge for me. And the excitement that I would feel when sort of like if I were to see Tom and Jerry in a film that is live action, and I caught that at the very lowest capabilities.
Yeah.
And they do the Tom and Jerry slapstick enough, or no, excuse me, they don't do it enough, but you still see little bits of it here and there that brought me joy and brought a smile to my face. But the rest of it didn't work. I will give a little bit of for all the actual actors, Chloe Grace Moretz does actually a fairly good job interacting with not only two fake characters, but two fake characters that don't talk. And I gotta give her a lot of credit there. Everyone else was having a hard time there, but that was something great.
She absolutely gave it her all. The one that I was most disappointed in, and I really like him, is Colin Jost from SNL. I was just like, oh man, this is pulling strings. Like, this is not good.
He looked uncomfortable to be there the whole time.
He's in a Tom and Jerry movie. They were like, we don't have a lot of money. You live in New York. Can you do this? And Scarlett Johansson was like, I'll do it. What do you need me to play? An animated cat? Anyway, all right. So yeah, Tom and Jerry was one thing. The other one I want to touch on real quick. I did watch Raya and the Last Dragon, which comes out on Friday in theaters and through Disney Plus Premier Access. I absolutely love this movie. I think it is Disney animation at their very best. Not saying Pixar, Disney animation at their very best. And I'd even go so far as to say I like it better than Frozen and Frozen 2. I think it's a better property. It gives you more. The one thing I will say that commercially, I think Frozen has the leg up in terms of the characters and the not only the characters, I would say the songs. The songs is what really drives it. But everything about Raya is beautiful. The animation's beautiful. The voice acting is spot on. Everyone is perfectly cast. The soundtrack is phenomenal. The action sequences are better than anything I've seen in animation. I just really enjoyed it. And near the end, I was actually really tearing up. I was very emotional at this movie. But it's a very, very good Disney movie.
It's interesting we talk about the recent Disney animation because you bring up Frozen, and I mean, I guess Frozen has the iconic songs, but really, there's not much else I really dig about Frozen. Moana, I think, is the one that really is the top for me. And I know that's not the popular opinion. Like, everyone goes to Frozen, but Moana is just absolutely wonderful. And so how is it compared to that, in other words?
Yeah. So the only thing I'll say is, number one, I love Moana. I say the only thing, and then I'm like, let me number what I'm about to say. Moana is very, very good. It's one of my favorite Disney movies. It has a great soundtrack, obviously, and the music's phenomenal. I think that's a different type of movie than you're getting with Raya. You're the heroine at the core of it. I think she's fantastic. Kelly Marie Tran as Raya just absolutely delivers. And then of course Awkwafina just plays, crazy very well. But in terms of compared to Moana, I don't know. I don't know if I had to rank them. I don't know where I would. Right off the bat, I'm just going to say, because it's so fresh, I love Raya. I really thought it was great. Just everything worked. It balanced emotion and humor and everything so well. For Moana, while I love that movie, it's not a real emotional movie for me. I don't know that the stakes are ever like really high and crazy. This one just really hits on a visceral level. And that's why I would probably give the edge to Raya a little bit. So I don't know. It's solid though. I highly recommend it. Our friend Darren said today, I'm definitely paying for it now. I was like, whoa. I am not financially responsible if you don't like this movie.
That is all on you, buddy. That is all on you now.
And then our other friend, Brando Critic, was like, really? A 5? Man, I wish, because he gave it I think a 3 out of 5.
I love Brando.
You hate happiness.
I love Brando, and I want him back on the show, but I cannot get a grasp on his ratings. He is all over the place. Mank is 2, Soul is 5, which isn't terribly hot take, but still, it's just kind of he's everywhere.
Yeah, it's funny though. I totally get it, because I'm not going to get into the movie, but I did watch Chaos Walking, and the reviews went live today, and I was like, oh wow, this is actually a solid movie. I really enjoyed this. And then I look on Rotten Tomatoes, it's 22%. I'm like, oh god. I gave it a 4 out of 5. But that's part of the game, right? It's everyone's going to have a different view of different films. I'm just checking to see if it went down to 19%. So we all have different opinions. But like you said, that one was in developmental hell, so I think a lot of times that taints projects even before they come out. But did that happen with what you watched this week?
Well, so I watched quite a few. Also watched Tom and Jerry, but the big two, and one of them we're going to talk about later, sort of in depth. But is the United States versus Billie Holiday, and we're going to talk about it a few times today, I think. And I'd say it's a movie that didn't know what it wanted to be. Andra Day is spectacular, and while while I don't know about deserve the Golden Globe win, it's not the travesty that everyone is calling it, which is a little bit annoying, but. She's really good in that. So it's almost worth watching for her, but for no other reason. The one I want to talk about is just an interesting thing with me. It's the Billie Eilish documentary, The World's a Little Blurry. I love this documentary a lot, and I'm not a music fan, first of all, but I'm also not a Billie Eilish fan, and it's only because I'm starting to get old. So when someone has a strange hair color, I think, well, that can't be talent right there. That's impossible. And so I just get a little bit, upset at that type of thing. But she is incredibly talented. The footage there is so immersive. It's a true great portrait of an artist in this modern age and how to deal with that. And the type of person she is, which is a very different person from me and a very different person from my culture. But I was still able to recognize the ability of her talent, which is there, but also her want and need and desperation to perform and give it her absolute all. And sort of to see that, and I'm a teacher, so I'm dealing with youth culture all the time, but I'm just teaching them.
I'm dealing with the youths.
Those youths.
2 youths.
Youths. And I really loved what this did and put it in a unique light. And I wasn't knowing what I'd see on this. Is on Apple TV Plus, this documentary. I didn't know what I'd expect, but I really love this. If you like music documentaries, even if you have issues with Billie Eilish because she has different hair color like I did, it was really great to watch it. And yes, as Haley is saying, I am a total old man.
I'm feeling like I need to watch it only because my opinion on Billie Eilish is only from the one song where she's always like, so I don't know.
They go into the development of all of the songs, and even there's these pop songs that I really wouldn't listen to. how they break it down and how she sings all the parts and how it is kind of a great process where it's like, wow, this isn't really my cup of tea, but I'm loving the way this is made. And it's truly sort of I don't like using the word genius, but she has like a good like genius ear for it. And it's kind of really cool to see it all developed.
She definitely has found her niche. It's a different type of music, and we hear it with the theme song for No Time to Die. To be tapped for that is a big thing as well. So for people that have, more of an ear for music and talent, of course, that's why she's so successful. She brings that to the table. It's just not my type of music. And I apologize right now. I'm just editing my Raya review because someone pointed out that I spelled Aquafina Aquagina. So I am just making a quick change.
Aquagina. Okay, so
Yeah. Anyway.
Of all of the typos to have, and now I'm never going to stop hearing her as Aquagina.
Which is really rude to her fantastic talent, because she is really good. I mean, we can talk about her for a second. When she was in, what was it? Well, obviously Crazy Rich Asians, she's great in. But Jumanji, The Next Level, I thought she was so much fun in that.
I actually missed that movie, and now I almost want to watch it just for her.
She was really good. She's I'll tell you, at one point she's the old man, and she's like, huh? So funny. All right, let's talk Golden Globes, because they were a bit of a shit show in a lot of ways, but then we had some surprises. There were some snubs. But you are our awards guy, publishing your awards watch every Monday on Guy at the Movies. You told me this week's was going to be late. It was pretty early in the morning that you sent it to me. So, do you sleep? Do you do anything other than awards and movies? But anyway, give us your snap judgments.
One, don't sleep. But also, when I look at it, I'm going to look at the 4 performance awards, because those are the big ones we're looking at. And pretty much Chadwick Boseman is going to win Best Actor, and Daniel Kaluuya is most likely going to win Best Supporting Actor. This is just the start of their winnings. They have also won a lot of under-the-line awards. Like, there's awards that we just never hear about. Daniel Kaluuya has not lost an award he's been nominated for this year yet.
Oh, wow.
And so with that kind of record, I mean, you're set. Chadwick Boseman, there's obviously a lot of outside forces going for that. Probably one of the only great moments during the Globes is, his wife's amazing tear-jerking speech, which they say the Globes is sort of an advertisement for the speeches for the Oscars. It feels a little bit gross saying that with what's going on with, obviously with him, but with his wife doing that. But she did such an eloquent speech and such a great job that if she is going to be accepting the awards on the behalf, it's almost like you want to see her truly feel moved. So pretty much when it comes to the males, they're all set. When it comes to the females, that is an absolute just dumpster fire right now. I have no idea who's going to win Best Actress. I have no idea who's going to win Best Supporting Actress. I'd say Best Supporting Actress went to Jodie Foster, and I don't even think she's going to get nominated. I think the Globes just loved Jodie Foster. No disrespect on her performance or anything. I really still think this is a Glenn Close train. It is
Hillbilly Elegy?
For Hillbilly Elegy, yes. She's going to get nominated this year. That will be her 8th nominee. And if they really stiff her again without any sort of win, I know it's supposed to be about the performance, but it's not. And I truly think that she is going to still go for it. But the other one inching up with her is Amanda Seyfried, who also, was like sort of a dark horse in winning the Globe, but then it somehow went to Jodie Foster. The last one I could think of, the last one is Best Actress, where I cannot even tell you who's going to win. I mean, on one hand, Andra Day might have enough motivation to take this from everybody because she just beat a powerhouse of nominees. Carey Mulligan is really high up there, to win, because the other two that probably might win are Viola Davis and Frances McDormand, who both have statues already. It's going to be really tough for Frances McDormand. She has, when it comes down to it, she already has 2. And to get that third one, it's not impossible, but you really have to, it's one of those that's really, really tough to get that third Oscar. Mm-hmm. And Viola Davis is one that just has lost a lot of popularity. There haven't been many people talking about her surging in the awards, which is an absolute shame. So I'm thinking Carey Mulligan or, honestly, Andra Day.
Yeah, I think Andra Day was a total surprise. And that was one of the most genuine surprises, I think, when she won. It was kind of cool seeing her. And the best is when she's like, give me the paper, just give me the paper. um, I do think that you're right. The women are going to be kind of a shit show moving into the SAGs, which did you see that they're only going to be 1 hour, which is cool.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Which the Golden Globe should have been.
Yes.
But yeah, with the Jodie Foster one too is it's out there. So I don't know. I'm interested to see where that goes. Overall, I thought there were a few. So these are more the petty things. Like, so you're going to be like the deep analysis here, and I'm going to be like the petty shitstorm here. The whole Daniel Kaluuya and Laura Dern mix up at the beginning was they did them both very dirty there. To not even allow to not stick with Daniel while they figured it out, to like cut him off, and he's the very first person to win. And then Laura Dern's like, the fuck do you want me to do? And then when he comes back, he's like, you did me dirty. That was just an interesting way to start the show.
I with that one, it was just one of those situations where if I was Dern and I had like sort of the power of Dern, I would have been like, okay, stop. We can't hear him. I'm just going to talk to you directly instead of trying to make this a lovely performance piece. And like, you want like instead of she was being very like good about like a performance that like on stage, and she was being very polite, and that's a good thing, I guess. But at the same time, it's one of those things where it's like you're literally muting the first award winner, who, let's face it, obviously it wasn't intentional, but is a black guy, and the HFPA has -7 black members, and it's one like it really just looked rough. And thank God he was able to talk right after that, because that would have just been ugly.
Yeah, and you just touched on it. The whole awkwardness around the diversity and the claims against them in terms of, well, not the claims, but the fact that they don't have any black members in their voting pool. It's just that whole thing was awkward. They were trying to get on top of it, but then you had, I almost said Lindsay Lohan. I don't know why I said Lindsay Lohan for Amy Poehler. Probably because I'm thinking of Mean Girls when I think of those two. But Amy Poehler and Tina Fey were making jokes about it. You had Sacha Baron Cohen, who, after he talked about Rudy Giuliani's IMDb page, which was absolutely hilarious, was, laying into them a little bit too. So there was just a lot of awkwardness there. And there was also a sense that people didn't give a fuck, quite honestly. Like, they were just saying that they're like, we're going to call you out right here.
Yeah, it was just... The whole show was horribly put together, and it's weird because they had this backdrop of the Emmys that, obviously people can criticize, but worked very well. Yeah. And there were these awkward moments before commercial where they had the 5 nominees talking, and pretty much all of the talking was all of them just being like, hey, can you hear me? Can you hear me? These people don't know each other that well, or they're just knowing each other from Zoom. It just really didn't work. I did want to mention about the Best Picture situation, though, because I know you're not a Nomadland fan, but how were we feeling about that now?
I totally understand why it won. And it's not that I'm not a Nomadland fan; it just wasn't my favorite. Like I said, I was kind of bored, but for what it does for film and the direction and such, I do understand it, and I'm happy for them. I'm very happy for the film. I'm very happy for Chloe Zhao for Best Director. I think it's just really cool.
I think, yeah. Oh, yeah, I do know you do also like a lot about the film. I didn't mean to say you were
since you shit on the film so much, tell us how you feel.
I think that it's interesting because I think Chloe Zhao is a lock for director now. I don't think picture is a lock yet. And I think that this is where the Globes used to predict Best Picture. They have not done that in a while. And so now we go back to this whole situation where there's the artsy vote of Nomadland, and the more populist vote of Trial of Chicago 7, and those are still in the war. But if those could cancel each other out, could a third one spring up? And I have an idea of what that third one could be. But do you know of a third film that might, if those two just sort of keep on fighting? And
I'm trying to think of which one it would be. I don't think Promising Young Woman would be that one.
No, they're gonna just barely get in with a nom, I think.
And they were completely shut out during the Golden Globe. Yeah. Emerald Fennell did not look pleased the entire time. No, I don't know. Which one are you thinking?
I'm thinking of Minari. I'm thinking of Minari, where everyone is loving this heartwarming little film. It's getting put unjustly into a lot of foreign film categories when it shouldn't be. And I think it's just gaining steam. It was just released this past weekend, and 2 weekends ago. Time doesn't exist. And it just like keeps on gaining steam, and it's going to depend on what's going to happen in the Critics' Choice. I still think Nomadland is probably the front runner. It would be very interesting if something like Nomadland won Best Picture. And that's coming from someone who loved it. I'm still fascinated by the fact that can reach the top spot. And so I still think there is something that might be more popular, like Trial, that could still give it a run for its money.
That's interesting. Do you think Judas and the Black Messiah could break into a nomination?
I think a nomination, absolutely. I between Kaluuya's now win for in the Globes, I really think that could happen. That was something I thought about a while when it came out, because it came out like a bullet, and since then it's still sort of hit the brakes a little bit. But that's something I could see definitely in like a 8, 9, or 10 position to be a nomination.
Another short list I saw had Cherry on it, and I cannot believe it had Cherry on it, because that movie was a shit show.
For Best Picture, it had
correct.
Well, so this is a Oscar Best Picture shortlist.
Mm-hmm.
This is what's weird about the Oscar Best Picture shortlist. It's about 300 movies long.
No, this one was not. It was like 5.
Oh, so this is someone predicting it.
Yes.
Oh! I thought
not
you
like an official
qualification.
list.
Oh my God. Okay, good. That was a lot for me.
And there's our clip for the week.
I like to provide those a lot.
What time we out of here? Okay. Make a note.
Mark the tape.
Just some other things I thought were really weird was the whole awkwardness around music, right? Like having obviously Kate Hudson nominated, and in the very opening monologue with Tina Fey, they made fun of it. They made fun of music and like all the controversy around it. It was just so odd. That whole vibe. Like, it shouldn't have been nominated. It is a controversial movie, rightfully so. And you nominated Kate Hudson, and you nominated music for Best Picture. Like, what? Oh, God.
Someone had a great tweet that Kate Hudson invited her entire family onto the Zoom call so people wouldn't think about music, and it's because the clips they show as well of that movie were already offensive. And it's Sam has seen nothing about that, or Sam saw nothing about music, and then she saw that one clip and she's like, "Is that the? Oh my God!" That
Accurate.
can't be okay.
Accurate. I just can't believe it got greenlit, honestly. And I mean, to have Kate Hudson in it, obviously Sia behind it, Lamar Odom Jr. in it, like, oof, God. Leslie Lamar Odom.
There it is. There's the clip.
Kim Kardashian, or Kardashian's fan, not Kim Kardashian, the other Kardashian. The other thing was the skits were terrible. It was too long. And Jason Sudeikis, was he high?
Yes. Well, it was. So there's a few things. He was like a lot of people have, a lot of people are making the he's newly divorced joke, which is kind of funny, but also God bless him. But also he probably either was high or drunk, which is fine. But also it was like 1 a.m. because he was in England just filming Ted Lasso season 2, baby. Yeah.
That was a nice win. That was really cool to see.
I loved that.
All right. Well, award season has begun. We'll see where it goes.
Oh, God help us all.
Yeah, insane. All right, let's jump into the news. The first thing we want to talk about is District 9 is getting a sequel called District 10. It has been rumored for a while, but this is Neil Blomkamp's film that came out 12 years ago about a man who ends up kind of like turning into an alien creature and is sought after by a weapons company in a time where aliens are kind of like secluded into one specific area, District 9. And he just said that he is currently writing the script alongside his wife and producing partner, as well as Charlton Copley, who is the star of the original film. Are you a District 9 guy?
I loved District 9 when it
Really?
came out. I really did. But now here's the caveat is then after that, I was like, Neil Blomkamp's amazing. He managed to tie aliens with racism and oppression. I can't wait for his new movie where he does something else totally original. And he ties aliens with racism and oppression. But yeah, Chappie, when he does Chappie, he's going to he just tied racism and oppression with sci-fi. And it was just one of those things where now is like, was District 9 that fascinating of an idea? And I started to get like bummed out about it. I still think District 9 is a very well put together movie. It starts in sort of this like weird like The Office style narrative and just shifts right into like, just something that's a little bit more scripted, which was a really clever way to sort of frame that. And it does have its faults. I mean, the villain is less than one note. And but there's still something there that I really did like, and also I have not seen it in probably about like 5 or 6 years. So there's that caveat as well.
Yeah, I remember not liking it, to be quite honest. But I am willing to give it another chance. I think it's on Hulu. If not Netflix as well. I feel like I saw it there too. That doesn't make sense. Probably just Hulu. So I'm gonna watch it again. But I'm like, do we really? District 10? Really? That's what we're calling it?
This would have been a fantastic movie in 2014.
Yeah.
Right now, this is a little bit too little too late. I mean, I guess you can't make aliens age, but I don't know where they go with this movie. I think like District 9 was a perfect cap. I guess
perfect cap to what? District 9?
Yeah. Wait, District 9 was a perfect. Yeah, they put a perfect cap on District 9.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know. Don't mess with me, man. I'm conscious of my volume right now.
We'll see. We'll see where that goes. I mean, it's probably years out as well because I think he was also one of the directors that was creating or working on some supernatural horror film during lockdown. So I'm not sure where that is in production. But he seems to be pretty busy.
And he had his fingers just in like, a lot of pies. Like at one point he was rocking the Halo movie. I just wonder, how far does this go? Because like, is he just writing this? Has it been greenlit, or is it just something where he's starting to write it? And,
it's definitely something where he's starting to write it. But it does, I don't know. I would assume he's probably going to get the green light on it.
Yeah.
Because District 9 was really well received.
Best Picture nominee.
It's true. Oh my God, I forgot about that. Okay, so let's talk about something else that apparently has been greenlit. We have a new Superman film in development, which, as the resident Superman fan on this podcast, I am very fucking upset. I kind of saw this coming, to be quite honest, only because I think everyone did, because J.J. Abrams is working with, he signed that massive deal with Warner Brothers and specifically developing projects for HBO Max. But everyone thought that it would pull him and Bad Robot into the DCEU. He once was attached to a Superman film years ago, so it kind of made sense that he would want to dip his toe back in that water. But he's going to produce a new Superman film under the Bad Robot label. And it's said to be a reboot, and it's currently being written by Ta-Nehisi Coates, who is an author who recently wrote Wrong Answer, which is a film that has yet to debut. We don't really know any other details. The big question is whether Henry Cavill will be back, whether he'll be involved. The outlet, which is Deadline, did indicate that Henry Cavill is eager to get back in the Cape. And there's been talks in the past about him signing an additional deal of some sort to appear in films. There also is the added rumor that they are developing this project to introduce a black Superman. And there is some precedence for that in the comics. And I'm not too familiar with it, so I'm not going to dive into it too much. But there is a thought that they would go that route here. In the past, we have seen that Michael B. Jordan was interested in playing that role. He has said multiple times. So, of course, that's the fan casting that everyone wants. But my initial thoughts on this are, I've multiple from the DC angle. I think they're really playing up the multiverse angle, and I think this might be part of that. Which in that case, I get it, and I'm okay. I think if you lose Henry Cavill, that is a big fucking loss for Warner Brothers. and I can't believe that they would allow that to happen. So I'm going to assume that they're not that bad. The other piece of it is my thought process that potentially if Zack Snyder's Justice League takes off and does well, that there is sort of that like secret hint, we're gonna introduce the Justice League 2 and stuff.
So this was where I didn't really know how movie studios worked for a second, and this is done by Bad Robot with J.J. Abrams. Is he underneath Warner Brothers, or is this an entirely separate thing? He
is underneath Warner Brothers.
Okay. That's what I needed to get clear when I saw all this, because I said, okay, so how are they able to do this? I mean, the first part of this that gets me the most excited is anytime there's a statement where it says Ta-Nehisi Coates is writing, I'm like, thank God. I want to read everything he has. I want to listen to everything he has. I want to hear everything he has.
Can I pause you there? Can you give me some background on him? Because I'm not very familiar, and I know that people responded to this with like, oh my God, that's great.
So I am feeling a little bit. I literally saw a documentary that I can't remember the name of, and so I'm going to be typing this in now. But he has also created quite a lot of, written quite a lot of Black Panther comics, and most recently modern ones. And so he already can handle a comic book style, a superhero angle, a social justice angle, because before that he wrote some very heavy novels. Pretty much, yes. Between the World and Me is an HBO Max documentary series where where several Black actors are reading his material in Between the World and Me, which is a novel he wrote, and just absolutely could have anybody crying instantaneously. So he has like a social justice edge to him. And I think this would be an interesting thing to bring to Superman. We have truth, justice, and the American way through a new perspective. I'm not necessarily advocating for the Black Superman, although I kind of want to see that. But it's one of those things where this could be a new angle, a different angle. I think Coates has enough, can work through enough complications with that, where it will be something entertaining and fascinating. He is a literal comic book writer, and so I think that would be really cool to see. But his name, like, he has been very active in the community recently, and it is really just something unbelievable. I'm looking up his IMDb just to see if there's anything else that I could name him officially. But Between the World and Me is one that absolutely just gripped me. It's either the book or the HBO Max documentary where they read it. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, I definitely want to check that out. I think that I'm all for the character development and bringing that character in. I think that's really great, and we shouldn't shy away from that. I don't want it at the expense of Henry Cavill's character, because I think that there is a lot that he brings to the table, and that's a huge loss. So if they can incorporate that in, it doesn't have to be either or, right? Like, yeah. That's why the multiverse was created, to explore these stories. So DC just better handle that well.
If there's one thing that DC knows how to do, though, it's they know how to make, they make a lot of side projects.
Yeah.
Especially recently, they're kind of going all over the place, which I think is awesome, honestly.
They just don't know what they're doing. I mean, right? Like, someone comes with an idea and they're like, yeah, go for it. I mean, Todd Phillips and the Joker. So, which is fine. It's a great movie, but I don't know. Like, if you want to start making some headway with these characters that people love, you have to do something to bring it all together. I do want to apologize because there is some work going on in the room next to me. Our bathroom is being redone, and the person showed up at 6:30 at night. So here we are. So if you hear anything there, I apologize. But let's jump into the next story. Red Sonja. Red Sonja is a character I don't know much about, but what we are learning is that Tasha Huo is going to write the adaptation of Red Sonja, which is a comic book heroine from the 1970s. He is currently the acting showrunner and executive producer of Netflix's animated Tomb Raider series that is coming down the road. Red Sonja was first adapted for a movie in 1985, and she essentially is a fictional sword and sorcery comic book superheroine. It doesn't really say much about her, but she wields a sword. The bad guy in the film was Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Bridget Nielsen played Red Sonja. Interesting enough, and I don't think I'm wrong on this one, but Red Sonja was originally in development years ago with Bryan Singer, I believe.
Oh yeah, he's good.
What? They down like years ago. Years ago. This was 2019. The creator of Transparent was taking on Red Sonja, Jill Soloway. She was going to write and direct, replacing Bryan Singer, whose status from the film was called into question in the wake of accusations of sexual assault and misconduct about him. And then also people were like, you have all these accusations against you and you're going to try to handle a film about a female heroine. But apparently that kind of faded into the background in terms of Jill Soloway's involvement. And now we have Tasha Hua.
Jill Soloway involved in this sounds fascinating. Like that is someone who, I mean, I absolutely love Transparent, but that is that's not exactly a female action movie era, like, warrior princess type of situation. This seems like an intellectual property that might be the luckiest intellectual property of all time between not, with respect to Nielsen and Schwarzenegger, but that would have been an absolute mess in the 80s. It would have been another one that just faded into the background. Then all of a sudden, Singer drops away, which is great. Soloway would have been, I still kind of want to see that version, even though I don't know anything about this character. But I love the idea of this, not being made in the 80s, 90s, but being made in today, where this is something that look a little bit modern, without having the blemish of being a remake from the 80s. I really love the idea of this. I truly don't know anything about it, so I'm out of my depth any further than that. But like a 70s warrior heroine, like from comics, like, yeah, let's do a modern movie of that. Come on. Like, let's no brainer.
And I'm all about them branching out to if we're going to continue the superhero train, breaking out of DC and Marvel is always a lot of fun because you have characters that are a little bit more, what's non-PC, and that really push boundaries and tell stories that the comics weren't always, not all comics, but that aren't mainstream in a lot of the comic stories that we see brought to film. So I would love to see that. Maybe we'll hear a little bit about it at Comic-Con this year because Sean, San Diego Comic-Con is again postponed in person, but they are doing it online once again, the Comic-Con at home. It was very big last year. And yeah, that's happening. So are you going to attend?
I didn't attend last year, and I regret it very much so. So I definitely want to attend this year. I think it was one of those things where you had it covered. So I said to myself, I'm like, all right, I'm going to let him do this, and I'm going to watch some really old Criterion movie, and then we'll talk about the news later.
That was the Criterion era when you were like deep into the Criterion films.
It was so bad, man. I'm still in there. I watched The Killing of a Chinese Bookie right after Tom and Jerry, so we all know where I stand.
That's a balance.
I will say, just smart move on Comic-Con's part. This is mid-July. This is or end of July. Regardless, everything's going to look really good by then, but not good enough to have a gigantic, just a gigantic event happening. So it's really good to be on the safe side. And I'm saying everything's going to look really good as a complete optimist. But all adults vaccinated by May? Maybe. Come on. Maybe.
I will say it's kind of interesting. I think it's the right move as well. The professional organization that I belong to in my actual job, is also doing another online conference this year. So I think it's the smart move just because as optimistic as we can be right now and with some of the news that's been coming out, we're not 100% sure that that's actually going to, happen. Things always fall through. One person that probably wants to go to Comic-Con and really open up, or drop the tea or spill the tea or, whatever the kids are saying these days is
God,
Rafe.
we're both old.
Yeah, I know. Rafe, whatever the youths are saying these days. Ray Fisher. So Ray Fisher played Cyborg in Justice League in 2017. Of course, we've documented heavily and in depth the different allegations that he's made against individuals involved with Warner Brothers, as well as the film itself. He released a letter on Instagram, on Twitter, and I'm just going to confirm the date that this came out. I think it was yesterday. It was yesterday, where he once again talked about how he would have addressed the conversations in real time or the issues in real time, but it wasn't until the summer of 2020 that individuals who were in those meetings felt comfortable sharing with him what they had witnessed firsthand. He really focuses on Warner Brothers executives Toby Emmerich, Jeff Johns, and John Berg, specifically here, and this is what kind of really pissed me off earlier. When it comes to matters involving race, I always try to give the benefit of the doubt to those who may be ignorant of their own biases. But when you have studio executives, particularly Jeff Johns, background on Jeff Johns is he is kind of the golden child of DC. He's worked on a lot of the comics. He's really brought a lot of the stories to the modern era, as well as has, I think, a lot of story credits with definitely Wonder Woman. And I think he's an executive producer on a lot of the DC films. But Jeff Johns is alleged to have said, quote, "We can't have an angry black man at the center of the movie." What's wild about that, and where the connection to Justice League is that Zack Snyder has been very, very open about the fact that Ray Fisher's Cyborg is, quote unquote, the heart of the movie and at the center of it all. So that was really frustrating. But then add in what we had talked about before, that those executives then basically removed all of the black people from the movie aside from him, and all of the characters of color. There's a number of individuals that we've listed in the past. It's just extremely, extremely frustrating to hear this. And he goes on to say, those were just some of the issues. One other piece is that, I had mentioned in the past, I think a couple weeks ago, when Zack Snyder had that Variety article, that he said he didn't handpick Joss Whedon. And what Ray Fisher says is, we now know that the leadership at Warner Brothers Pictures lied to the cast and crew about Zack Snyder picking Joss Whedon to finish the film. So there's just so much shit there. And Warner, that's why I'm just not confident in anything Warner Brothers is doing, because I don't think they can handle anything that comes their way. And they're doing a very poor job of handling this investigation.
It's remarkable that you tell me, hey, there's another Ray Fisher story. And I don't roll my eyes, but I do say, well, what possibly could be new now? And then it stuns me again. We could talk about this. We can't have an angry black man at the center. First of all, that's racist. Second of all, that's wrong. Cyborg was my favorite part of Justice League. And one of my criticisms of Justice League was that I wanted more Cyborg. So it's straight up wrong, in addition to being racist. And also, the way you imply we can't have an angry black man at the center, they make it sort of a political thing where he's an angry black man because he's half robot and he doesn't want to be, and he's slowly becoming robot. This is me making a little bit of a light of something horrific.
No, but it's spot on.
It's kind of true. It's like one of those things I really can't get over. And these cocky people are, they're wrong. They are lying. They've been caught, and they're kind of doubling down on their idiocy. And I really don't understand how people can be like this. I understand that they are, powerful people, and therefore they have no ability to know what's right or wrong. There's something about it that, I can't fathom it. It's like, you're caught in a lie. Give a phony piece of shit apology that doesn't mean anything, at least. It's very odd that they're just kind of like, no, we're keeping at this thing.
And doesn't it then make you question their intentions when you get word that they're potentially developing a Black Superman film?
Oh God, that's a good point. I didn't even tie into that, but that, and then that just pisses me off, because that's sort of, I don't think tarnish is the right word, but it sort of minimizes Ta-Nehisi Coates' name. Yep. And then that really pisses me off. Oh wow, you got me worked up.
It's frustrating. I mean, and I feel for that actor. Ray Fisher has been very, I think, consistent in his allegations and everything that's been coming out. But it's just, it drives me insane that we are dealing with that. And I say we're not dealing with that.
Yeah. That
Ray Fisher and that actors of color and that people of color are dealing with that in 2021 is beyond fucking me. I want an F count for this.
Episode. I'm ready to go. I'll just scream fuck a bunch of times. But it really is. When I think about it, it just says it right there. He says those are some of the things, and you gotta be worried if you're one of these studio heads, because this guy's has had receipt after receipt after receipt, and he's ready to go further, and he's not doing that to be a professional person. I mean, granted, he's also like exposing some real fucked up behavior, and that's more professional than anyone could ever imagine. But he's still sort of like helping them out, giving the benefit of the doubt, all of these things. But these are things that black actors have had to go through forever, and it's one of these things where we thought we were over with this, we thought we were done with this. And it's this lack of leadership that's there. I mean, hey, I'm not saying Marvel is the perfect angelic thing, but you wouldn't see this happen there. You just wouldn't see that kind of thing happen. Not to compare Marvel, DC, and other situations, but just on the leadership alone. And that's what is like the most frustrating, is there's a right way to do this. Golden Globes, there's a right way to host the Distance Award show. The Emmys already did it. Like, this is what you do. You have, like, and it's common decency as a person, but I don't know. It just frustrates me
completely. And we're not done with that conversation yet, because our next story has a taste of this as well. The Pinocchio film that's coming out that Disney's developing, it's a live-action Pinocchio film that will star Tom Hanks as Geppetto. Cynthia Erivo and Joseph Gordon-Levitt have been tapped to fill 2 roles. Joseph Gordon-Levitt is going to be the voice of Jiminy Cricket, which is wild to me. Why not?
I think it's perfect. I think it's perfect.
So yeah, that's happening. And then Cynthia Erivo is going to be the Blue Fairy, traditionally a white character, which the internet would love to remind you about today. So it's once again people saying, I can't understand why this casting is happening, and that it's a white fairy. Why are they blah 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 blah? And I just had to shut down Twitter and everything else at that point.
It's one of those things where, say the second part of that again, it's a white fairy. Oh, fictional being. So you can have, like, literally you can have anything going on. I mean, Yara Shahidi is Tinkerbell in the Peter Pan movie, which I'm not excited about Wendy and Lucy or whatever that's going to be called at all, but I am excited about that casting.
Wendy and Lucy.
Is that what it's called? No, what is that? Oh, no, that's a Kelly Reichardt film with Michelle Williams.
This is Peter and Wendy. Wendy and Lucy. Peter and Wendy and Lucy is the sequel.
That would be a great crossover. That's the Reichardt Disney universe. Let's get that going. That sounds perfect.
But if you remember, this is the same thing that happened when the live-action Little Mermaid was announced, and we know that Ariel is going to be played by a woman of color, Halle Berry, right? Not Halle Berry. Halle Bailey.
Halle Bailey.
And Melissa McCarthy's in it, Awkwafina's in it, but of course people are losing their shit about that. And it's like, they're like, my Ariel is a white woman. I'm like, your Ariel is a fucking cartoon.
Well, and also one of these things, your Ariel is still a white woman, because no one's going to remember these live action remakes. These are cash grabs that we'll all watch, we'll all talk about, and then we'll go back.
You watch your mouth. Watch your mouth.
Oh, buddy.
Listen, Seth Rogen and Billy Eichner stole the show in The Lion King.
And they were the only good thing.
And I remember them. Aladdin was fine. Beauty and the Beast was delightful.
Same as the animated.
I can't remember other ones.
Exactly. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's it right there. That's it right there. Ha!
Don't yell at me.
Oh, I will yell. I will yell, good sir. I will raise the volume on this mic.
Raise some hell. There also are some other castings there that we didn't get into, but I will now. Keegan-Michael Key, who is in everything these days, is also going to be in this. Lorraine Bracco, who I'm not familiar with, and Benjamin Evan Ainsworth. They're rounding out the cast. It looks like Benjamin Evan Ainsworth is playing Pinocchio.
Lorraine Bracco is playing a fictionalized character, but she is also the therapist on The Sopranos and the girlfriend in Goodfellas. Not girlfriend, the wife in Goodfellas.
She's going to voice Sophia the Seagull in this movie, which is a new character. Which is it going to be like the seagull from The Little Mermaid, which is Awkwafina?
Awkwafina is playing Scuttle, which is still great for me. I love that.
Oh man, that's going to be a special film. I mean, I'm into it. So Cynthia Erivo is another one that I want to talk about at some point. We won't do it tonight, but you know her from
Harriet.
Harriet, thank you. She's a big Broadway star in London. Haley's going to yell at me because it's not called Broadway, the West End. She's a big star in the West End. And then she also actually was in Chaos Walking when I watched it yesterday. I'm like, oh, with Mads Mikkelsen.
Oh my God, this movie.
Yeah, it's not terrible, I'm telling you. But anyway, yeah, that's the West End. See, there we go. But yeah, she's actually really good. I think she just needs the right parts. Harriet didn't work for me for a number of reasons, but I think they really floundered there. But she did her best with it.
Yeah, but this part is very interesting because doesn't this part, this technically white fairy have like 16 seconds of screen time? Doesn't she just do the Pinocchio thing and then comes back at the end and does it again? Like I don't remember a huge moment for her.
I'm assuming that they'll probably. So remember, they're probably going to tap into some other Pinocchio stories because Pinocchio, of course, is based on a different story. But I don't know. I'm sure they'll give her some extra time there. We'll see where it goes. I keep thinking of the blue fairy or the fairies from Cinderella, I guess it is what
Sleeping Beauty or Cinderella? Well, I mean,
don't they all have them?
Well, it's the fairy godmother in Cinderella, who is blue, kind of, and then they have the ones that are pink, blue, and green in Sleeping Beauty. That's when they have the battle with the cake where they go blue, pink, blue. Yeah, I remember this.
Bibbidi bobbidi, bibbidi bobbidi. This is how much of a Disney nerd I am. I'm in my head thinking, when they do the fireworks at Magic Kingdom, I think they say, look, it's the blue fairy. Oh, God. I need help. But anyway, let's get to our last topic here, because this is one that you are very excited to talk about. So Paramount is developing a Bob Marley biopic with Ronaldo Marcus Green, who is helming King Richard right now, which is about Venus and Serena Williams' father, who is played by Will Smith, which will be coming out on HBO Max at the end of this year, as well as in theaters, until theaters say, we don't want them in HBO Max anymore, give us back our money, and that happens. But anyway, we're getting another musical biopic here. This is, I think, an interesting one to tackle because, of course, Bob Marley has a storied history, continues to be very, very popular in college dorm rooms everywhere. But I do believe that I saw a review for a recent movie that said, quote, "That's it. I don't have the power to make such a decree, but I'm saying it. No more musical biopics. Nothing good can come from them, and we have seen too many of the same. The United States versus Billie Holiday is the cause of such a radical declaration." So tell us a little bit about why you don't like Billie Holiday, the film.
I think, first of all, that's the first problem, is that I love the story of Billie Holiday. I mean, it's a horrific story of a lot of tragedy, but it is one that is just really deep and rich. There is a podcast episode of NPR Throughline called The United States versus Billie Holiday, which is what you should listen to instead of this movie, because it is really unbelievable. But I look at what happened here, and this is... What comes about is that there were so many of the musical biopic cliches: interview in a flashback, drug addiction, like rising to the top, cops getting involved, possible race issue. And they had so many of those issues packed into this one movie that nothing was adequately explored. And there was no way to talk about the freedom of expression and the freedom there. I'll talk about another one, Bohemian Rhapsody, which I think is another movie that is akin to Garbage Water. And it's just like, it really is like just kind of this poorly constructed movie that, they just say like, "We will rock you." And then it cuts to them at a concert doing "We Will Rock You." And, Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story, the John C. Reilly comedy, once that was made, it's like there's no more musical biopics you can make anymore, because that is exactly what all of them do. And I really feel weird about saying that because I can't cancel an entire genre. I can't do that.
I decree.
I made my decree on Instagram, but the director of King Richard didn't hear me. And so I'm very upset with that, but that's okay. It's one of those things where, you know, if you don't exactly play by those rules, you can still have a good biopic. Now, a biopic is interesting because there's two ways to look at it. There's two ways to pronounce it too, which I've never done biopic. I never will do biopic. I tried it once in college. I'm not going to try biopic again. I consider it biopic. But regardless of that, there's like a few different ways that a biopic can be done well. And I have a few interesting ones here where you're still playing the roles. You're still going, you know, through the motions. And, oh, you have it?
Yeah, you did this whole like for a second, but you're back.
Oh, no, that's probably because I stopped thinking for a second. But is you have the, like, first of all, I'm jumbled a little bit, so I'm gonna reset. Here we go. Okay. What is a biopic? Is it the entire story of the person? Is it just a real life story, like at the portion at the end, like Judy last year, which was also a really tough one to sit through? But is it like Judy, where it's just the like last few years of her life? I really, I don't know if that could be allowed. I don't know what a biopic is. I don't know the specific move. Is it just as long as there's a real person in there, it's a biopic? And I look at the ones that I put on here, and I have of three great ones are, in my opinion, Malcolm X from Spike Lee, very divisive, not just as a figure but as a movie as well. 3.5 hours long, so you know, really pull up a chair. But it's something that actually just like takes on every aspect of his life. It does not lionize him. It shows his faults. It shows every part of him. And that's one of the, you know, ones that I really, you know, end up loving. Walk the Line is one that goes by the simple Dewey Cox structure and maybe just minimizes drug addiction a little bit too much, but still is enjoyable enough to work. And the last one I have is Julie and Julia, which is, this is a weird one to put, but is a biopic for Julia Child and is a really good biopic for Julia Child. And the criticism is just keep Meryl Streep as Julia Child, get rid of Amy Adams as Julie, who's cooking her way through the cookbook. But honestly,
that made it work.
It really did, because what it was, you know, we see Julia Child the whole way through, but we know the fruits of her labor. We know the impact she has on other people. And that is not much that a biopic has shown before. And so it was sort of perfect where it's like, oh, we have the story of Julia Child, but interacting with someone who is truly moved by everything she's done, someone that has been like inspired by everything she's done. And that's how you make a biopic, is you're making the story of a person. I get that. But sometimes there's like annoying specifics. The United States versus Billie, the United States versus Billie Holiday starts with an interview. And this is 2 minutes in, and I say, oh, fuck. Like, here's what we're dealing with. And then it's like, you know, this was me back in my olden day. And they practically look. They don't actually, but they practically look at a new scene. And I'm like, I can't deal with that anymore. And I think that that's one of the more tragedies with the biopic. I want them to be good. I don't want them to be gone, really. But I don't know. It's tricky. I've been going a lot. I've been rambling a bit, Joe. Help me out.
Well, so what's interesting is I think that your original post when you reviewed Billie Holiday was about musical biopics. And now you're talking about general ones, too. Are you just against biopics?
I'm against the really familiar outline of them. And it's annoying to see that familiar outline. I mean, I put on here Walk the Line. The year before was Ray. And with the exception of, like, you know, a couple of obvious differences, those two movies are almost identical.
But Ray was a good movie. I mean, that was very well received.
It was. And you know, Jamie Foxx was pretty much there to get his Oscar. I think he should have won the Oscar for Collateral, but that's a whole nother thing. But I'm not going into that. But it was the same year. That's why I say that. But I think that Ray was a little bit too over stylized for me. Which is weird because I love a cool style once in a while. I love like interesting little like cool things, but I think that Walk the Line was a little bit more straight down the middle. And you know, that sounds like a bad thing, but it is more like they didn't try to do any like, you know, interesting. What is the word? Like get a little bit too creative. Over direct is sometimes how it's called, which Lee Daniels did in the United States versus Billie Holiday. He over directed the shit out of that, and it's really unfortunate that happened.
What are your thoughts on Rocket Man? Because you didn't mention that, and that's actually one that I really enjoyed.
See, And Rocket Man follows the suit of what I love about a biopic, where it broke the rules. It turned it into a Elton John jukebox musical that still managed to go with all of the lovely flourishes of a story. I will say it did have the wooden side characters, which really annoy me. Richard Madden was just mustache twirling levels of evil, although he is amazing. His friend Barry. Barry was someone that I really liked in there, but he did sort of service as just the best friend. It was the Taron Egerton show. It was just the Rocket Man. It was just about Elton John, which is fine. But I like to see the people that impact his life be a little bit more three-dimensional.
My favorite was that came out right when Guy at the Movies was getting going. And I remember someone saying oh, this movie, it's not authentic at all or whatever. And I'm like, he's an executive producer of the film, Elton John. Pretty sure he knows he probably doesn't know what always happened because there were some drug-induced, trips there, but.
Well, this is very interesting because this is the other problem with a biopic sometimes is either the family is involved with the producing or the actual person is involved with the producing. Remember Bohemian Rhapsody where Freddie Mercury was an idiot and the rest of the band was really smart and really good and oh yeah, no, that was real. Oh boy.
And I will say though, I do think Rocket Man, that's one thing it has going for it is even with his involvement, he wanted to show all the shit. He was break it down, show the depths of his career and his personal relationships. Because he was an asshole for so long. He turned into such an asshole, but I just love that movie. It's so good.
It's really good. And yeah, you are right. That was the one thing. It's Elton John kind of broke that chain where he just said, yeah, I'm in this. I'm going to be involved in it, but I'm also going to show you all my problems in this meeting, producing it. But it also is just beautiful where there's the moment where he, in the movie where he commits suicide by jumping into the pool, high on everything. And then it slowly just goes right into him exhausted as they dress him to bring him on stage.
Yep.
And you don't get that from, you'll get Joaquin Phoenix, kind of high on stage and a little bit tired. You won't get the full blown moments of that you'll get in something I'm glad you mentioned Rocket Man because I totally forgot about it.
And this isn't a biopic, but when you're talking about the embarrassment on stage, I immediately think of A Star Is Born when Bradley Cooper's walking up there drunk. That is the most, oh God, that scene gets me every time.
You just want to, I am a gentleman that enjoys the alcohol once in a while. And if I get that drunk, I usually fall asleep. And, that, you just hope that for him. You just hope, when I see him lying on those stairs, I'm like, just go to sleep, man. It wouldn't look good, but it'll look a little better.
One other thing that just popped into mind is we're talking about the involvement of the actual focus of the film, the individual with the film. And Madonna, her biopic, we reported on this a while ago because this is episode 36. So it's been at least 36 weeks that we have been doing this, just so you know. But Madonna is going to direct and co-write a biopic of her own life and career. And maybe I'm biased. I just don't think Madonna's going to be show it all.
I forgot about that. Now I'm remembering us talking about it, and I assumed I shouted during that one because that's
roll the tape. Production, roll the
tape. Now you have to cut it in right here. Yeah, do that work.
I have to find it first. Good thing we keep all of our outlines.
That is true.
I don't know. I didn't watch United States versus Billie Holiday. I would admit that I did have a screener for it, and I just got backed up with other stuff and couldn't watch it. And then I also just didn't have the drive to do it based on some of the stuff I've been hearing from people that had seen it. So
I would say to you, for the performance, because it is a true shame that a performance that beautiful from Andra Day is not given any sort of legs at all. And that's the one thing I think about where we look at, who won versus this. And this is in the Globes, Frances McDormand, oh my God, should win every award. Carey Mulligan, very good in this. I'm not going to go through them all. Vanessa Kirby, I'll do that one for you. Absolutely unbelievable. Viola Davis, amazing. Yeah, I guess I am going to do all of them. Shoot. Okay. Sorry to the fifth. But obviously, she is not the best of those, but all of those movies are better than United States versus Billie Holiday. And she manages to grab it just for that. So, like, I'm saying it to you, like, it's a bad movie. I'll be curious to see your take on it. But I really want, you should see it for her performance, really.
Okay, definitely will do that. All right, well, hey, that is our news for the week. But there's quite a number of movies coming out this week that we need to highlight. First and foremost, Boss Level, starring Frank Grillo and Bruce Willis, is coming to Hulu this week, which instant classic. Coming to America hits Amazon Prime Video this week. Crisis, which I'm trying to remember what that film's about, but that hits video on demand. Opioids. Raya and the Last Dragon hits theaters and Disney Premiere Access, I should say, on Friday. Moxie, which is Amy Poehler's new adaptation of the book, comes out on Netflix this week. The SpongeBob SquarePants movie, Sponge on the Run, hits Paramount Plus tomorrow when CBS All Access turns into Paramount Plus. And then Boogie hits theaters this week as well. I will be sharing my review of Boogie at 8 o'clock today when the embargo lifts.
Nice.
You highlighted Moxie. Is there a reason for that?
Did I? Oh, well, I guess I like highlighting things. Well, no, I'm just worried about all the ones I have to watch and what my Friday is going to be. And as Luke was saying, Friday is going to be on Disney Plus because it's going to be Raya and WandaVision, which is the conclusion, I believe, right?
It is.
Every question will be answered, I bet.
Well, in true Marvel fashion, they won't leave anything open. I did hear this thing today where I guess one of the writers, or maybe he's the director, he said of WandaVision, he made the comments that, he's afraid that people are going to be disappointed. And I totally understand that, because everyone has 17 different theories and not all of them, if any of them, are really going to play out fully. I don't think we're getting Reed Richards introduced. I think at best, we're going to get Benedict Cumberbatch coming in as Doctor Strange. And I was thinking about this in the middle of the night when I couldn't sleep, because it's what I do. I don't even know that we're going to see a Mephisto. I think we might get a nod to him, but I really do think he's going to come through in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, if at all.
It would be great if it was Luke Skywalker, honestly. Just coming back and just dropping Baby Yoda there.
Yeah. Haley, sorry. They were not any deep spoilers. We're just talking about a lot of stuff that you can read online of different theories of what's going on. Luke says that SpongeBob has been released 9 times. Not in the States. It's been held in the States. So you may have it over there, but yeah. But yeah, one other thing to announce is due to sort of what we alluded to a little earlier, what Sean alluded to with the optimism around the world sort of inching back to, some sort of normalcy, even though I think it's still going to be a while. People are starting to go back to work. Everyone's starting to get pulled in different directions. So the film festival that was originally scheduled for the end of March has been postponed, and it will be taking place at the end of August, which will be 1 year from the original. So very excited for that. There's a lot of people that I wanted to thank, and if you go onto Instagram, you can see that. Sean, you as one of them, Haley, another one here, Unlimited Reviews, who are going to be involved. And I look forward to your involvement in August. We just, it got to the point where everyone is starting to get pulled around, and to put on a great event like that, you need everyone's involvement. And even me, I'm going back to work probably in person, and I just don't know what things are going to look like. I will say that the interview with Gio Parsons, who is the writer and creator of Willy's Wonderland, will still be happening. It will likely happen at a different time, potentially rather soon, but we will keep you in the loop with that. We are in conversations. And yeah, some other fun stuff coming down the road. So have no fear. We're not going anywhere. I don't know what that was about.
I tried to add on that. I'm like, no, are we going somewhere?
Your add-on was. Sean, this was a lot of fun, of course. Thanks for helping get it going tonight and after we pushed it last night. Where can people find you?
People can find me on Instagram at Math Teacher Movies. I do Monologue Mondays, what the Oscars got wrong Wednesdays, and Final Shot Fridays. I also review movies and TV of old and new. Fuck me.
And you can find Sean also on Mondays at guidetomovies.com for Awards Watch with Sean, which he has not factored into his little bit yet. But we'll get there once award season is over, I'm sure. You can find Guide to Movies at guidetomovies.com for all the latest movie news and reviews, as well as on Mondays, Awards Watch with Sean. On Wednesdays, Jaron watches. Today, Jaron watched The Vigil, which is a film that I saw during the Philadelphia Film Festival, and his take on it's pretty funny. He opens the video by saying that his pants were damp from being scared, which it's really funny. I started watching it, was like, what is he saying? Thursdays and Sundays, you can get the predictions for the box office, as well as on Sundays, the recap of the box office for the week. And on Fridays, Darren's Movie Reviews does a fantastic review of WandaVision. Pleased to say that he will be continuing on with his Marvel reviews on Fridays as we jump into Falcon and the Winter Soldier coming up. So we will continue to chat about that. Also, Guide to Movies on Instagram, Guide to Movies 1 on Twitter, and other places. Just find me, Guide to Movies, you know. You can listen to us wherever you get your podcasts, usually on Wednesday mornings. This one will come out on Thursday morning. But please make sure that you are subscribing, rating, commenting. Tell us that you love us. It's nice to hear every once in a while. And Sean, what do you want the people to know?
If you live in Texas and Mississippi, don't leave your house. Don't leave your house. They've banned masks. Don't leave your house.
Mission accomplished.
Like, please, God. Like, literally, if you are a government official and a scientist is telling you to do something, do what the scientist says. Okay, I'm just going to go with this. Please wear a mask. If you're in Texas and Mississippi, definitely, oh my God, wear a mask. There's probably like all the COVID there now. So please wear a mask. Please double mask. Please, right now, take a look at your state. Find out when you are going to be able to get vaccinated and sign up. It's happening a lot. Please get vaccinated when you're supposed to, and please wear a mask. I want to go back to a movie theater, and I want to go to Comic-Con 2 years from now. Just please.
And if you are thinking of visiting Amity Beach, please also wear your mask. Do not listen to the mayor. Jaws reference, deep cut. Sean, see you soon.
See you later, buddy.